Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. I was just watching an advert on TV about water aid, and there's lots of them these days, charities, since COVID-19, asking for money for you to help solve this problem. And you giving £2 or £5 a month, well, it may help, but I'm assuming it's going to be a band-aid. It's not going to solve the root cause of the problem. I think this is part of the problem with humanity, or its selfishness, is it's the same when you go to a GP, and I've still got this cough, they want to give you something that will relieve the cough rather than sort out the root issue. And if you don't know that, you won't know that they're doing that until I went to a pharmacist and they told me, this inhaler they're giving you, it's not going to solve the problem, it's just going to suppress the thing, and then the secretions may cause infection and stuff. And when he tried to give me something else and a different kind of inhaler, and I told him that, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's true." That shows you the power, such knowledge, because without that, they'll just give you anything, and you'll just take it, and it's just relieve the symptoms rather than cause a root issue. And that's part, I think, of the problem with humanity. And in this issue of COVID-19, it's proved that, in the sense that look at all the endeavours that are going on to try and find a vaccine, the billions of pounds around the world that are being pumped into it, the research, the integration of different universities and pharmaceutical companies working hand in hand to ensure that if there is one, that they can be given out to everyone, probably freely. I don't know probably not. They're probably going to charge the country. No one want to talk about that. No one ever talks about the money issue, as if people are doing it philanthropically for free and getting all the praise for that. I don't know, really, can you get praise for doing something when you have to exchange money for it? I don't think so. That's not really a good deed, is it? A good deed is something you do without the need of money, of a paltry price. So the thing that this advert was making me think about was COVID-19, this idea of a virus. It's very difficult. They're having to pump billions into it and so much research and time, and they may not even find a cure like they didn't for Ebola, SARS and MERS. But they're going to all this great trouble because it's killing people around the world, and specifically, I think, because it's killing people in the West, and that's why the West has suddenly, put all this money into it. But that's a problem that's very difficult and may be impossible to come up against. But this issue of water aid, there's countries that don't have clean water, and children and mothers are drinking it, and a certain amount of people will die of poor living conditions or dirty water that they have to drink because the only water they drink, assuming this advert is reliable and it's truthful, but let's say it is. We know there are countries around the world where there is great suffering for people, and this is achievable. We already know how to solve this problem. Now, with COVID-19, we're pumping billions into it. We don't know how to solve it because it's a virus. It's part of nature, if it is, and it's difficult to solve that. But clean water, we know how to clean water. We know how to irrigate. We know how to do all these things since Roman time, or maybe even before. Who knows? I'm just talking from history I've been taught. So that's achievable. Why didn't we do that? Look at the state of humanity. Look at yourselves in the mirror, all of us. How truly selfish and not evil, but how bad we really are. That when this COVID-19 comes along, we pump money into it, try and solve it. Yeah, look, the pharmaceutical companies, all these companies making ventilators. Yeah, everyone's helping out each other. Let's all clap hands to the care workers. Yeah, they're doing a great job and all that stuff. But when this goes back to normal, then we'll all forget about all those other things that we could easily fix with the same amount of money and determination and free will that we have to sort out the countries that have these poor living conditions, people living out on the streets, homeless people, all these issues that are around the world that we currently have already found the technology or the infrastructure or the process to solve that problem. But that problem is allowed to fester because, They're not in our border, in our country that we've named ourselves, and that we've taken that bit of land and said it's ours, and we're only going to protect that part. Or we give money, but then we charge interest, so that countries always remain in poverty and in suffering, so that we all can have our TVs and our clothes. Take care, don't you? God bless and peace.